65 horsepower trap that might pop wide open, Rats.
Kansas City Chiefs absolutely phenomenal.
In everybody to another episode of the TPT podcast. As with me always is my man Zach. Zach, what's happening?
Let's go. We back.
Yes, sir. It's good to kind of be back. We're kind of in the groove, getting Pacific times, really getting back, and it just feels like the season's coming closer and closer. But guys, yeah, we're back. We're going to be releasing a lot more content now that we're kind of getting to the midsummer and things are starting to heat up in the NFL in Arrowhead. But we're here with another special guest, the host of one of our shows on here, Best Bets, and you guys know him from TikTok. He's known as Grizzy, but I know him as Nick, but I always call him Grizzy. Nicholas New, a.k.a. Grizzy. Grizzy, what is happening?
I'm just chilling, Jaden, just waiting for that season to come back around so we can make more money. You know what I mean? Just in general, waiting for that football to come back. Me and my co-host Dustin Klug, we're excited to get back into that making money spree.
Yeah. I mean, again, you guys killed it towards the end of the season. You guys had one of our best shows. You guys had a live show. You went over to the bets as the playoffs were beginning. One of our best live shows. We had the live show that we've had. So yeah, we're excited for that. Obviously, Grizzy, he's one of our Vikings fans. He does a lot of our on lives. He talks a lot about the Vikings, but he talks a lot about around the league. So we're really happy to have him in analysis. As today, guys, we're going to focus around the league, the competition the Chiefs are going to be going up against, more of the AFC side, because again, the Chiefs have won back-to-back Super Bowls. So we really got to start focusing on the teams that could potentially knock off the Chiefs or some teams that are going to be on the rise. So that's kind of where we're going to, start a little bit today. We're going to get into the Chiefs. So we're going to get into how the depth chart is forming up for the Chiefs. But right now, we're going to kind of talk about around the league. As you guys have kind of looked around the league, this free agency, this offseason, this draft, Zach, who did you think, or you said those teams made some moves that could really be a contender in the AFC, and not a lot of people are talking about it? Zach, who do you got?
I'm not gonna lie, I got one team, okay, and this is my team for the year. Other than the Chiefs, I'm rooting for this team in every single game, and it's the Jets. I'm rooting for the Jets in every. And my uncle, my uncle, who's like 75 years old, blamed me because I put a $50 bet on the Jets to win the entire Super Bowl. It's at like plus 2,700. And so I was like, I love those odds, like $1,450 right in my bank account if it hits. So I was like, I gotta try this, and I'm rooting for them because, I mean, everyone is gonna say the team with old Aaron Rodgers, is gonna get injured every year, and the team that plays at MetLife is gonna get injured every year. But if it doesn't happen, which we haven't seen yet, okay, the Jets and Giants always get decimated. But if it doesn't happen, they are the 49ers of the AFC in the sense that their roster is stacked top to bottom. And they had a weak O-line last year, and hopefully they patched that up somewhat. They got Tyron Smith, Elijah Vera Tucker will be back. They got another tackle. And so I'm looking at them. I'm like, their ceiling is as high as any team in the league.
Yeah, absolutely. Grizzy, who is another team? Because I'm going to get to the Jets after we kind of hear what from Grizzy. Grizzy, who do you have as a team that you've made? You've kind of seen the AFC that kind of made some moves where you sat there and thought, this team right here, this team may go unnoticed, but they're going to be a team on the rise.
I mean, Jaden, you want to talk about a team that, just really just got better in free agency and the draft even? You got to go with the Houston Texans. I know they're not really flying under the radar right now, but when you add a pass catcher, me being a Vikings fan, obviously I know how good Stephon Diggs is, a little off the field issues, whatever, but you pair CJ Stroud with a guy like Stephon Diggs, and you still got Nico Collins, you still got Tank Dell, who's going to be coming back. You still got Dalton Schultz. That's a high-powered offense. Joe Mixon, too. Don't forget about Joe Mixon. And then you put an edge rusher, another Viking, Danielle Hunter, joining the Houston Texans, making that defense even better. I feel like the Texans could give the Chiefs a little run for their money. I know they're still on a little bit of the younger side. Like I know you said a couple times, Jade, CJ Stroud could have that sophomore slump. But if he doesn't, CJ Stroud might be the real deal. I already think he's the real
He
deal,
is.
but he might prove it
Yeah.
even more.
Yeah, yeah, I love both of these. So I released on some other social medias my playoff prediction. Which again, if you guys want to go check it out, go check out my TikTok. I go live there, and we were kind of talking about the early playoff predictions is post draft. So things like changed before the training camp. But I love the Jets pick. I think that the Jets are a team where a lot of people, are kind of thinking, oh, whatever, Aaron Rodgers, this, that, and the other, he kind of got injured, blah, blah, blah. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I think that they won 7 games of Zach Wilson last year. I think they can get to 10, 11 wins and win that division. I do. I think, again, you're going from a guy who is literally probably the worst starting quarterback in the league to now Aaron Rodgers. And I'm not saying he's going to be MVP Aaron Rodgers, but he doesn't have to be with this offense. They got good running backs. They have a good offensive line now, and they have the receivers to do it. Mike Williams, if he can kind of stay healthy, they got him. They got Lazard. They got Garrett Wilson. So they have the receivers to compete in that division. And let's not forget about the defense. Love their defense. So I think the Jets are a perfect pick where they can be a sneaky team. They haven't made the playoffs in a while, and you see a very motivated Aaron Rodgers. So I really do like that pick. And, it'll be interesting to see them. Houston Texans going off of that. If he avoids kind of the sophomore slump, which I don't think he will have, that's a team that is I think will win their division. Now the Jags, again, I think the Jags can have so much of a bounce back here, but it depends on Trevor Lawrence, and it depends on how well some of these guys mesh and their defense. Because let's remember they were 8-2 or 9-3 before everyone started getting hurt. Trevor Lawrence missed 2 or 3 games, so they're a team also. I think them and the Jags are going to be in some grudge matches for that division. As we kind of look ahead to some of these other teams in the AFC, I'll go back to Grizzy. Excuse me. Go back to Grizzy. Grizzy, who's a team you think will take a step back in 2024? A team where they may have been a good team and a playoff team in 2024, but they'll take another step back, or 2023, but they'll take a step back in 2024.
I mean, Jaden, there's only one answer right off the top of my head, that being the Buffalo Bills. You got to look at the Buffalo Bills and just look at how much they lost. They lost Stephon Diggs. That's a big loss. They lost Tre'Davious White. They lost Micah Hyde. They lost Jordan Poyer, but I think he's still a free agent.
Dolphins.
Poyer, where did Hyde go? Is Hyde just a free agent?
Yeah, I think so.
Anyways, yes, the Bills have lost so much. I mean, when you're looking at your defense and your number one defensive player right now is probably Ed Oliver. Ed Oliver, all love to you, man. You're a great player, but you're not the heart and soul of a defense. You might be the heart and soul, but you're not the star that the defense needs. If I'm looking at that defense, I don't know what I'm looking at. I'm not really looking at much of a defense if it's just you and a 40-year-old, 50-year-old Von Miller.
Yeah, I mean they still got Matt Milano. I know he's coming off of ACL or a major injury, or couldn't be ACL, could be MCL. I don't know what it is, but I know he came off a major injury where he missed the beginning of the season. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I think, I would almost put my money on the Bills will take a step back this year, but that's not bad for Bills fans. You take a year, maybe you don't make the playoffs. You get a top 15 pick, I don't know if they'll be that bad, but, you get a top 15 pick. You can get the next Justin Jefferson in the draft, maybe. Get the next Stephon Diggs in the draft. Get another wide receiver, another guy to catch balls from Josh Allen.
Yeah, I think I agree. I don't know if they're going to be a 7 or 8 win team. I think they can get close to 10 wins, but I'm pretty sure they won 10 wins this year, and they had to win 6 straight games in the middle of the season to do that. I know they had some injuries. I know they had some things going on, but it's like I don't really know if this is a team with, again, a lot of what they lost, and you're going to really have to rely on MVS and Curtis Samuels and also a rookie to just be stars for you, to be really good stars, because like we just mentioned with the Jets got better. Dolphins are still a really good team. The Bengals, the Jags, the Colts, the Texans, the Browns. I mean, there's so many teams. The Bengals. there's so many teams in the AFC right now that want a piece of that pie. I just don't know if Josh Allen can really carry that load of just having to carry a team where, you can make Curtis Samuel a guy. You can make all these guys that aren't guys, kind of really be 800, 900-yard receivers. I don't know. And their schedule, we went over their schedule this year. They only play some of the worst team they play is the Patriots. Outside of that, they play the Jets, the Dolphins, the Jags, the Titans, the Texans. Their schedule is really tough. If you want to go check out their schedule is really, really tough. So I don't know. I think I agree with that. If they do make the playoffs, it may be as a 7th seed, but I don't know if it'll be for a division leader. Zach, what are your thoughts on who do you think in 2024 will take a step back?
Well, I like how you mentioned there's a pie, and there's a lot of teams in the AFC that want a piece of that pie. And I don't really see, other than Buffalo, a team that on paper got worse. Other than you could say Miami might have gotten worse, or maybe you don't value Derrick Henry as much as Mike McDonald, a defensive coordinator. You say the Ravens took a step back. I feel like everyone is just going to try to eat the same pie, and there's not enough. And so they might not get as many wins. It might be a 9-8 team that is better than they were last year. But that's just how good this conference is. And so if I had to choose one, I would say the Baltimore Ravens, because they are incredibly talented. It's ridiculous. Like, they have an extremely stacked roster, and now they have Derrick Henry. But they lost their defensive coordinator to Seattle. And that is, as we've seen with Spags, like, that can mean everything to your team. Your defense can go from number 1 ranked to 15th ranked just like that, even if the talent doesn't change at all. And so with that inconsistency there, they are one of the only teams that lost their defensive coordinator where their defense was that important. So I'm going to go with the Ravens.
Yeah. Again, the Ravens, I think they did lose some. They lost their coordinators. That could be a big thing. We kind of saw that with Philly late in the year as things started to broke down and things like that. Coordinators do matter. I still like the Ravens. I still think they can win their division just with Derrick Henry and their offense alone. And they were a division winner, even though their schedule doesn't really, I feel like, reflect that. And again, the Browns, what are they going to be? What are the Bengals going to be? The Browns, lost 2 less games than them, and they didn't have Deshaun Watson. They didn't have Nick Chubb. They didn't have one of their safeties during their stretch of when they were winning. So they're a team I think is also going to have a say in that division. If they get Nick Chubb back and he's able to play, I mean, even, if he doesn't come out and play, it was proven they could win 11 games anyway. And then you have the Bengals. What are they going to be coming back? You got guys coming back. So I do think, again, the Ravens could take a step back. I still think there's a chance they win their division, but that doesn't mean they can't take a step back and still fall to like a 3 seed or a 4 seed, while you have, again, so many other teams that are going to be right there. And a lot of people get upset because I have, out of those 7 teams in the playoff, my playoff prediction, I have 4 teams returning. That many teams not going to return. Well, again, a lot of these teams didn't lose a lot. They didn't lose a lot. Now, there are other teams on the rise, and they can replace teams like the Bills, the Bengals, even the Dolphins, because we mentioned teams like the Jets. But, again, the top of the AFC is really heavy, and the bottom is the bottom, like the Raiders and the Broncos and the Patriots, the Titans and teams like that. The bottom is the bottom.
Hey,
but
the Chargers, the Titans, they have a huge question mark at quarterback, but they've gotten better almost everywhere else. They've gotten better almost everywhere. I see them as I think they're the team that's supposed to lose the most games. Like, they're the best odds for number 1 pick. And I'm like, that, I don't know.
The only thing that gets me with them is I think they got a lot of guys, besides Snead, I think they got a lot of guys that 3 years ago I'd be really intrigued with their team, like Calvin Ridley. And then there was another signing they had.
Tony Pollard, I guess. That's a
Tony
huge
Pollard
downgrade.
was another guy 2 years ago. I probably
Yeah.
would have been like, okay, wow, like they're really. But again, there's a lot of question marks with Will Levis for me. I think he's a very hot and cold type guy. And that division, Richardson, Lawrence, and you have Stroud now. Like, a lot of good young quarterbacks in that division. I'm really intrigued with the South this year. They went from the division that was like God, this division stinks.
Yeah.
To like, okay, let's see what like the Colts were a 9-win team. The Jags were a 9-win team. The Texans won 10 games. So it's like you have a lot of teams like that are gonna be in there that it's like, okay, like this is intriguing. Like the Jags are coming back healthy. They added Gabe Davis. So they added, a couple other guys on their team. So they would not be a sleeper. But yeah, I'm definitely intrigued with the South. Who is the team, the number one team you guys see? And I'll start with Zach. I'll start with you first. The number one team you see, if the Chiefs don't get to three-peat, it's because they faced that team in the playoffs. I know it's maybe hard to see right now because the Chiefs have been so good in the last 2 years. But who does that team you look and you're like, that's the team that will knock us off?
It's between those two teams we talked about at the beginning, the Texans and the Jets. Because we've seen what the Bengals are worse than they were 2 years ago. Burrow's coming off an injury. Their defense is way worse than it was a couple years ago when they were that competitive. The Bills, we talked about, lost all their receivers, all their defensive pieces in the secondary. So the normal figures, other than the Ravens, the usual suspects are not as suspectual.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So we got these new guys,
Exactly.
the corpse of Aaron Rodgers and CJ Stroud with his super team, and they're scary. They're really scary. And if I had to choose one, even though I have money on the Jets, I would say the Texans are more likely to beat us because Stroud is probably better than Rodgers, and their defense was already good last year, and they added more pieces. So probably them.
Yeah. I'll get Grizzly's answer on this one, but it's going to be interesting because, like you said, there's a possibility you don't have that, like you said, the usual suspects. You don't have those guys where you're kind of like, okay, we may see these guys in the playoffs, and a lot of Bengals fans may think, oh, we still got T. Higgins and we still got Hendrickson. Well, those two guys did put in trade requests, so there's a possibility that they may get traded. I don't know if they will. Possibility they may get traded, but again, you had 10 guys not show up to voluntary OTAs. The thick of your and a lot of those guys, 7 or 6 of those guys were key guys. T. Higgins wasn't there. Hendricks wasn't there. Jamar Chase wasn't there. Joe Burrow showed up late to OTS. So it's like, if you're a team that's wanting to win a Super Bowl, the Chiefs had all their guys there but Chris Jones. Their guys were there. They're like, we want to win another Super Bowl. We're there. Kelsey was there. As many things as Kelsey's got going on, he was there. So it's like, you think of a team as wanting to win a Super Bowl, you're going to have a majority of your guys. I know it's involuntary OTAs and it's the summer, but you still think your guys would show up to maybe a day or two of OTAs. So, yeah, like you said, it'll be interesting because outside of the Ravens, I don't really know who would be that new and up-and-coming team. Like you said, maybe the Jets, maybe the Texans, but could you really see an up-and-coming Texan team really just go in there and just – you ready for that? Maybe. I know the Bengals did it one year, but that took a collapsal from the Chiefs. That took an absolute collapsal in the second half.
Don't bring it up.
So, something we've never even seen before. But, Grizzy, who is that other team you think in the AFC where you can look up and you say, wow, the Chiefs got beat by this team in the AFC?
I'm going to have to piggyback off Zach. I'm going to have to take the Jets here. And before I get into why I picked the Jets, you got to imagine Houston, it's going to be them. If anything, it's going to be them heading into Arrowhead. And CJ Stroud being a second-year player, is he really going to come in Arrowhead and do something that only Joe Burrow has done? Basically, I don't see CJ Stroud doing that. I don't see him coming into Arrowhead, beating Mahomes when Mahomes is fiending. He wants that three-peat. He wants to be that guy. That's the guy who got the first three-peat. That's the guy. Mahomes wants that. But you look over to the Jets, you got Aaron Rodgers, who's been doing this for how many years?
Right.
If there's one quarterback that's going to who will put it all together with that offense, that beautiful offense, it's going to be Aaron Rodgers. He's a hell of a quarterback.
And Rodgers does not want Mahomes to get that three-peat because they're kind of in the same vein. We're like, oh, they're the best ever. But Mahomes is already passing him up in everything. If Rodgers can get one on him and take it to a championship, he wants that. He wants that more than anything. And I have a question for you, Jada. I know, Nick, you're not a Royals fan or a Chiefs fan, but would you take a three-peat from the Chiefs or the Royals to go and win the World Series this year? Like out of nowhere.
Oh man, he puts me on the spot, folks. Oh, why'd you have to do this to me?
Yeah, I know. It's a crazy
we've been
question because
bad.
it's hard.
I mean, we've been bad. The Royals have been bad,
Yeah.
and I
You
just
guys
went
don't
to
got to worry.
Yeah, I went to go watch them recently in Tampa, and it was great to, they lost, but they won the series, but they lost to the Royals when I went. But it was good to see good baseball. It was good to see a Bobby Witt home run, and it feels good to watch sports in the summer and not be miserable with the Kansas City Royals. So, but I know how special a three-peat would be. I know obviously a Royals winning the World Series would be special, and I know they can get there with a guy like Bobby Witt. I know that he's going to attract players to want to come play with him. But oh man, a three-peat. Like you three-peated in the NFL. One of the hardest things to do.
And Jaden, while you're thinking about that, Jaden, just maybe keep this in mind. If you take the three-peat, could be 4.
That's
could
true.
be a 4-peat.
You could extend it.
Yeah, piss them like the Bills used to say back in the 90s.
That's crazy. I didn't even think about that.
Piss them off and go for 4. The Bills went to 4 Super Bowls in a row. We just got to do the opposite. I think I'm gonna go the three-peat, guys. I mean, I love my Royals. I got my flag behind me. I know you guys can't see it, but and I know how bad they've been. But as long as we have our first step this year, we get it. We'll make the playoffs. Obviously, we get in the playoffs and we win a playoff game. That's the first step to me because I just wanted us to float around 500. I did not think we would be a team where we're looking at winning the division this year. So I think I'm going to take the three-peat because it's never been done. Like three-peating in the NFL, like he would be right there with Tom. Like you can say what you want. He's right there with Tom Brady if he wins 3 in a row.
Yeah.
3 in a row? Guys, that is like, do you know how hard, like Tom Brady talked about how hard it is to win 1 Super Bowl. One Super Bowl in a row, but 3 in a row would be crazy.
You a Yankees fan too?
Figured
I'd switch and Warriors fan.
Figured I'd switch the hat up real quick.
Are you a Yankees and Warriors fan? That's not an eye. Get this guy off. Get this guy off. He's a Yankees and Warriors.
I mean, we got this man. I'm surprised he doesn't like the kid. He's not a Kansas City Chiefs fan. Over Grizzlies are one of our big Vikings fans here at TPT, but. We like to have him on here for his great analysis, but we're surprised this man isn't just bandwagon off the Chiefs because he likes the Yankees, he likes the Warriors, and he's an Alabama football fan.
I am not an Alabama football fan.
I'm joking around with our people here at TPT. He is a Notre Dame fan, but yeah, I mean we're surprised he's not a Chiefs fan.
I might as well
bet maybe some NFC, some Vikings here at the end of the show. But to kind of continue this and more on the three-peat, we're going to kind of look at the Chiefs. We're going to kind of look at the Chiefs depth chart right here and see what's kind of going down, what's kind of be the breakdown of the Kansas City Chiefs. We're going to take a break right here, folks, but we're going to look at the Chiefs depth chart.
If you guys are looking for the best jerseys for the best prices, make sure you guys go check out Jaden's Jerseys. We have all your favorite teams in NBA, NFL, MLB, and college football and basketball. Best prices and the best quality. So make sure you guys go check out all of our selections at Jaden's Jerseys right now.
Welcome back, guys. Quick break right there. That was our sponsor, Jaden's Jersey, my company, Jaden's Jerseys. So make sure you guys are looking for jerseys. Go check out Jaden's Jerseys. Great jerseys, great quality. A lot of people from the podcast, a lot of people on TikTok, Support the Business. You guys will love it. So go check out Jaden's Jerseys. Speaking of who's going to be given a Chiefs jersey this training camp, we're going to get really more into it as training camp starts. But this is just our early look and kind of our assessment, how the roster is going to kind of shape up. We're going to start with our Chiefs fan, and then we'll go over to our non-Chiefs fan to kind of get a look on just a brutal honesty and who he really thinks is going to shape up. Excuse me, Zach. Who do you got? Who do you like in our QB room? We got our 4 quarterbacks. We're going to kind of start with the quarterbacks. We got Ian Brooks. A pretty good quarterback room coming into training camp. Like pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like it.
We have the best starter.
Say it again.
We have the best starter. Okay, and then Carson Wentz is probably a top 3 backup. I'd say. I
Right.
said there's a few teams that have like a quarterback battle going on where they're probably a little better. But hey, upgrade on Gabbert for sure.
You're
Gabbert
right.
in the little time he played, he was arguably one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever watched in my life. No different from the rest of his career. I don't know why I just went at him like that, but hey, he was a lot worse than Chad Henne and Matt Moore.
That man's a Missouri man, and you just absolutely
I
slayed.
know. Hey, okay. But I'm
Yeah.
comparing him to Matt Moore and Chad Henne. Legends. Absolute Chiefs
I
legends.
think he's from. I think he's from. I think he is like he's from around the Kansas City area, man. And you,
Really? All I know is he went to Mizzou. I don't know where his whereabouts are, where his fromabouts are. I just know, hey, Chad Henne against the Browns, Matt Moore almost beat the Packers with Aaron Rodgers. So that's all I need to know. But we got Carson Wentz now, and hopefully we
Yeah.
don't need to see him until week 18. But if we do,
Right.
chances are he handles business. So I like that. And then Aludakun has always been really fun to watch during preseason. And I don't think we typically carry him on the 53 man.
right, not till week 18.
Yeah. And so him and Book, I don't know much about Book. I all I know is I hate Notre Dame. And so I hope Aludakun makes it. Just due to that technicality with my disliking of Notre Dame. And then receivers, last year I think we carried, was it 7 receivers or was it 6?
7, yeah,
7. And that's because
7 towards the end of the year.
yeah, we went into it saying, okay, we don't have stars, but we have depth. And it turns out we had neither. Okay. We had a bunch of bums other than Rashee Rice, a bunch of bums out there doing nothing. And so now we can definitely save one of those roster spots for another special teamer, some more depth in the D line or the secondary. And we got Marquise Brown, we got Tony, we got Worthy, we got Rice. And then if I had to guess, Justin Watson and Sky Moore, because Sky Moore is a second round pick. Which
Right.
leaves Justin Ross, but they like Ross. I don't know.
So what about that's a guy I kind of wanted to ask you about before we get to Grizzy with some of the running backs. What do you think about Ross? I think I think in a couple of games he played, I think he could be a big red zone guy. I know he had the legal stuff going on. He kind of sat out his first year, but I really would either like to keep him on the practice squad, or if he could make that guy, maybe he plays special teams, you keep around. But you got to remember, if you do have 7, your 7 guys are 100% going to be you're either keeping 7 receivers or you're having one less cornerback. And that guy's essentially going to be a special teams guy. So you have, again, you have Watson. You either going to keep Watson, Sky Moore, or Ross.
Yeah, Watson's weird because he was better than everyone except for Rice last year, but he's
Right.
kind of
And
redundant
Hardman.
now.
Don't forget about that.
Did we re-sign Hardman?
I want to.
I don't see Hardman on here. I don't think he's
Maybe that's
extremely
Hardman.
redundant, Hardman now.
Hardman,
With-
I don't think he's on here. No, you're
Yeah,
right.
with Brown and Worthy, Hardman literally has no place in this offense at all.
Yeah. And again, there's a lot of receivers on here. You still have Nico Ramigo, who had a great preseason and training camp. What are they going to do with him? Philip Brooks, he's coming in the training camp. Good. I know he had some buzz last year with some teams. And right, we said Ross. You have Xavier Worthy. Obviously, I think he's 100% going to make the team. And then you have Montrell Washington, who is a great special teams player, played in a couple of games. He did phenomenal for us on special team. I think he returned some that were huge. And then he, being a gunner as well, had some huge stops being a gunner. So he's a guy. What do you do with him?
I don't know, because now the more we talk about it, I could see Sky Moore as a casualty because he doesn't offer special teams value. He doesn't offer any value other than the fact
He was
that
a
we
second-round
spent
pick, though.
a high draft pick on him. But now this is year 3, and so it's getting towards the end where we don't really feel the need to see it out. I could see Sky Moore as a casualty if they feel like a guy like Montrell Washington would be more valuable because Sky Moore's not going to see actual receiver reps.
Right.
This is interesting. This is interesting.
Yeah. So again, you do like how our receiving core is shaping up.
Oh, it looks beautiful. I love it so much.
Yeah, me too. I think I really like our top 3: Rice, Brown. Then you got Hollywood. And then, if Kadarius Toney can step up his whole play, I think he'd be that 4th guy, that gadget guy.
I love Tony. I love Tony. He's gonna be the best punt returner in the league. Him and
I think so. I think so. And,
whatever
and,
bro's
and
name.
that's where I'm going to kind of get with Grizzy here on the running backs. Because I had some questions for him about the running backs. Grizzy, I know obviously you're not a Chiefs fan, but you watch a lot of Chiefs ball, and you know a lot of these guys on this roster. You know, you got guys like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Hassan Hall, Pacheco, Deneric Prince, who played in a couple of games for the Chiefs last year. And then, you know, what are they going to kind of do with the veteran? I think he's still a free agent, but you have Jerick McKinnon. And then you have we got someone from over the pond, and Luis Reese Zamet, 6'3". They have him listed as a running back, which I'm pretty sure they said he's going to play. 6'3" running back, but he would have the fastest time on the Kansas City Chiefs besides Xavier Worthy, which is wild because there's a lot of speedsters on the Chiefs. So what do you think about the running backs?
Yeah, Jaden, you're going over those wide receivers. You said Mr. Phil Brooks. Is that what you said, Phil Brooks?
Yes.
You got me a little excited. Phil Brooks, that being the name of my guy, CM Punk, WWE wrestler. Same name, Phil Brooks. So, you know, Phil Brooks on the Chiefs. Might have to get your jersey. But we're going to go to the running backs. Let's just say it. Pacheco, dog. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's a good number 2. And I don't know if I'd say, but he's a good number 2. Jerick McKinnon, former Viking, obviously, you know, really shined with the Chiefs. You know, he obviously the memories I have of Jerick McKinnon is from that playoff game.
Sorry to cut you off, Grizz. If you were the Chiefs, would you bring him back? I know he's a free agent right now.
If I'm the Chiefs, I'm bringing him back for one more year. I feel like he's still got some juice in the tank. He is a good receiving back.
Really
McKinnon
good.
is a good receiving back.
And a good pass.
I feel
blocker.
like, you know,
Yeah.
and if you need Mahomes just to dump off a pass, you know, Pacheco's more of that angry runner. He runs angry. He runs angry. If you need more of a guy to just catch the ball out of the backfield and take it 50 yards, I feel like McKinnon can do that. Maybe not as often, you know, he's a little older now, but McKinnon, I think he's still got some juice. He's still got some juice in the tank.
Right.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Go ahead, Zach.
No, I mean, you can go ahead. I was just gonna say, the 3P would not feel right if Jet was not still on the team.
Right.
We're losing one Jet already. Let's not lose both Jets. We need one of them.
Right. Because he just, to me, before you continue, Grizzy, like, to me, he's just he's that cleanup guy in baseball. Like, he's not going to play a whole lot, but, like, he's going to have that block that's huge, or he's just going to have, like, a catch that's huge. And I know he got hurt this last season, but let's not forget the season before that, he had 9 receiving touchdowns.
All-time record.
Yeah,
all-time record.
9 receiving touchdowns as a running back for the Chiefs. I mean, insane. Let's not forget there were seasons where Jamal Charles would get like 7 receiving touchdowns, had like 3 in one game versus the damn Raiders. Like again, I love Jerick McKinnon. He's one of my for some reason my dad loves Jerick McKinnon. You know, he always just calls him Kenny. He loves him, so he's always going crazy for us. So I would bring him back. But I'm interested to see who that third running back is going to be. So Grizzy, how do you feel about Luis Reese Zamet, who came over from London? I think he's a Spaniard though, but he came over from London, but played rugby, was the fastest player in rugby. And he's 6'3", 194 running back. Do you think there's a chance he could actually make the team? Or not to make the team, because honestly, I think he'll make the team because he won't count against a practice squad spot because he's an international player. But do you think he can make the 53-man roster and be that third running back alongside maybe Clyde and Pacheco?
Jaden, you know, you're talking about the guy who played rugby, right? That's who we're talking about.
Right.
The guy who played rugby. I mean, I got to be honest with you, Jaden. If you can get Jerick McKinnon back, I feel like that's a perfect 3 running backs right there. You know, no shame to this guy, but rugby and, you know, NFL, 2 different sports. It's 2 different sports. You know, like you said, he's 6'3". He's a big guy. You know, running backs normally they're about 5'10". So he's gonna be a big running back. You know, maybe see how he plays out. Maybe you could move him to, you know, be more of a receiving back with that height.
Right.
You know, I'm pretty sure you said he's pretty fast too, right, Jaden?
Say it again.
4-3,
You said he was
four
pretty
three two. Was it?
4-3-2. Yeah, he's a
Was it? It might not have
so
been that fast, but he's
Yeah,
fast
he's
and
a
big.
he is one of the fastest times on the Chiefs. I mean, you have Hollywood Brown, and I think him and Hollywood Brown had similar 40 times, which is, and this guy is 6'3". I mean, that's even if he's running a 4.4 at 6'3", and he's known his nickname is Lightning, and over in Europe, I mean that's pretty impressive. So, would you even keep him around because of these new kick off rules? Because this is kick returners are going to matter now.
Yeah, I mean, but like you look at it this way, Jaden, if you're really gonna only keep him around for kick returning, it's you got Tony for kick returning. I think you said Justin Ross can be a good kick returner, gadget guy. You got like that's the Chiefs right now. Is they got all these guys, but like you can't have them all. So somebody's got to go. At least from you can't have three people returning kicks.
Right.
You can have someone return a punt. You can have like Tony's really good at returning punts. If you need that kick returner, maybe you give the 6'3" guy a shot, even if it's just in preseason. See what he can do.
Yeah.
But fast guy. I probably I'd reach out, see if McKinnon wanted to come back. Jerick McKinnon. Obviously he's been a Chief for a couple years now, and like Zach was saying, three-peat wouldn't count if Jerick McKinnon wasn't there.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Unless you want to keep 4 running backs and you want to keep that guy around, maybe just keep him as a special teams player. He can return kicks. If they really call him Lightning, I'd want a guy named Lightning returning my kicks.
Right, yeah. And that's the thing. I think he'll be able to adapt to the physicality of the game, but do we know if he'll be able to adapt to an Andy Reid like playbook? This is why I'm excited for preseason. We have an international guy that's nickname is Lightning, so we'll be able to see what he can do. As we kind of wrap up the show here, we got one more position to go over on offense. We're going to talk about the offensive line next time, as we're kind of short for time here. We're going to go over our tight ends. What do you guys think? And I'll let both of you guys kind of go over this as we go over our tight ends. Who do you guys think will be those 3 tight ends that, because they typically keep 3, sometimes they keep 4, but who do you think that they're going into training camp with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they'll end up probably cutting 1 and maybe keeping 1 for the practice squad, or maybe keeping 2 for the practice squad. But they're going in with Bailey Cup, Noah Gray, Travis Kelce, Garrett Pierce, Ivan Smith, and you have Jarrett Wiley, who is the rookie drafted the Chiefs, who's 6'7", which is huge, and he led the Big 12 in touchdowns as a tight end, or as from a tight end position, but led the league but led the Big 12 in touchdowns. So, what are you guys' thoughts about the tight ends? Zach, I'll start with you. What is kind of your goal for the tight ends? I know obviously with Kelce, but some of the other guys.
Yeah, so the last few years we've carried Kelce, Noah Gray, and Blake Bell. And I like Bell first because he was the Belldozer and he used to play quarterback at OU. And even though that was some of our worst teams that I've watched, at least on the offensive side of the ball, I still liked him for that reason. But the last couple of years, he has not provided the value that he did when we first got here. He was a really great blocker when he first got here, and it was cool because Travis Kelce was 29 years old, 30 years old, and he didn't need any guys to pick up the slack for him. And so last year, I feel like Bell was not sufficient for a third-string tight end, and I'm excited to have Jared Wiley in there, and I think that's going to be the third guy. And then Irv Smith's going to get the boot, and he'll probably sign somewhere else because he's a vet. He probably won't stick around the practice squad. And so I like Wiley. He's a good pass blocker at the end of the line. He's very athletic and tall. So I'm excited to see what he can do. And he might even be above Gray. Like, good chance of that. Because Gray's been a very solid, reliable piece that we can count on. He had a catch on that game-time drive in the Super Bowl, one of the first catches of the drive. And I love Noah Gray. But Wiley definitely has a higher ceiling from what we've seen from Gray so far.
Yeah. Yeah, and before we get Grizzly's answers on the tight end, Wiley I like. I think he really has potential to kind of be that number 2 guy and really learn under Travis Kelce. I mean, 6'7". He's a big receiver. And Mahomes, again, they've tried to kind of find those bigger receivers for him, but he kind of has a receiver build, but he's tall like a tight end. You know, he's 200 pounds and 6 foot, not a wide receiver build. He has a very big tight end build. 260, 6'7". He's a big guy, like a really big guy. If they can, really get him oriented, get him to be a post up type guy in the end zone, and Kelce really gets underneath him. He's a younger guy too. He's only 23. So I really do believe. I know we've kind of thrown out the Kelce replacement. Not Kelce being Kelce, but just being the replacement, being a solid tight end for the Chiefs. I really do think he has the potential to be that. And there's a lot of good tight ends in the Big 12, and for him to essentially be one of the best, if not the best tight end in the Big 12, and up there and be, all Big 12, 9 touchdowns. He's had 4 or 5 touchdowns on every team he's been, even on Texas. I think he had 4 or 5 touchdowns. So everywhere he's been successful. So I think he can be very good with the Chiefs. It's a good offense for him. So I have high hopes for him. Grizzy, how do you think I know obviously we have a former Viking on the team too, Irv Smith. I mean, there's a possibility, like you said, he may not make this Chiefs team. I mean, he's going to either have to beat up Noah Gray or Wiley. So what do you think about the tight end group? I mean, obviously you have Kelce, but some of the other guys.
Kelce, best tight end in the league. That's all I'm going to leave it at. That's all you really need to say. Now, it gets interesting when you get to the second tight end. Noah Gray, obviously a good tight end. Irv Smith sucks. I'm sorry. As a Vikings fan, Irv Smith is not that good. He can't catch a cold. He can't catch a cold. I think Irv Smith will be a free agent, if not stick around the practice squad. But this Jared Wiley guy, I'm just hearing about him today. That just shows how much I keep up with the Chiefs. But just looking at his build, 6'7", 260. Man, that's a grown man you got playing tight end. If this man ain't out there, that's pretty much an offensive lineman, an athletic offensive lineman playing tight end.
Right.
That is, I'd like to see if he's developed right. And to piggyback off what you said, Jaden, there will never be another Travis Kelce.
Right.
There will never be another Travis Kelce. But Jared Wiley, if he picks up a couple things from Kelce, you guys don't really need to be looking for another tight end after Kelce retires.
Right. Yeah. Again, I really like the way this offense is shaping up. I mean, again, I think, and Wiley may be your tight end 3, but I think he can, again, that's fine with me. I really like the way this offense is shaping up. Obviously, we're going to get more and more in depth on each of the talent we picked up on offense, because the defense is easy to talk about really here in Chiefs Kingdom, the way they played last year. Obviously, they lost a guy like Snead, but can somebody replace his role? We're going to talk about that more next week. So before we get out of here, we know that these guys have some podcasts, have some TikToks. So, Zach, I know that you've been really recently putting out some more social media, some more media. Zach, what you been putting out there so people can go listen to?
Nothing. Oh, I do have a podcast. I had a surgery, so I forgot about it, but I'm going to start this podcast again tomorrow. It's called the Fire Sports Pod. It's on Spotify. It's on YouTube. It's on those two, Spotify and YouTube. So you can play it and turn your phone off and it'll still play. So that's pretty cool. Fire Sports Pod. Fire spelled F-I-Y-A. You know what I'm saying?
Fire Sports Pod, and it covers all sports, correct?
It covers basketball, football, and baseball if something cool happens.
Okay, yeah. Yep, there you go. I mean, guys, that's kind of what ESPN and the big markets cover. Basketball, football, baseball, the American, the big 3. And go check it out, guys, because if you don't check it out, then you don't love the Chiefs. And if you don't love the Chiefs, then you don't love life. I mean, it's not just talking about the Chiefs, it's talking about everything. But if you love sports, then you're going to go check it out. But if you don't love sports, then why are you listening to us? So go check it out.
This is not the podcast to listen to if you don't love sports.
If you love your mother, you're going to go check it out. So go check it out, guys. Grizzy, you're a big WWE guy. You're one of the most knowledgeable WWE guys besides me. So where should people go check out you on social media?
Yeah, Jaden, I pride myself on everything I know about wrestling is because of you. You can check me out on TikTok, Grizzy Shu, GrizzyShu. Yeah, if you like wrestling, come check me out.
Yeah, guys, make sure you guys go check these guys out. They do an awesome job. We'll have more news if what we're going to do with Best Bets. I know you guys liked one of their last episode. I know you guys really started to really take advice from them. I started to really get more and more on TikTok about that. They're going to be back running. We're going to try to get more into that. We know that Grizzy. We may see more of Zach on there too. We know Zach makes trillions of dollars betting because he's such a smart bettor as well. So we're going to try to get some more guests on there to talk about bets and stuff like that. But yeah, we will see you guys next time on another episode of the TPT podcast.